Welcome to the Elmer O. Locker Jr. channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you the P.U.R.E. technique. The P.U.R.E. technique is a way to create or manifest things into your life in the effortless way. It's a different technique, but it's very, very powerful. The P.U.R.E. technique is at the very heart of parallel reality surfing, and no other exercise is actually needed. P.U.R.E. stands for Parallel Universe Reality Emulation, and it is the vehicle with which you shift your personal identity and the corresponding life you call reality. It is the technique which will allow you to shift into what you are actual parallel realities. Now let's go ahead and get into the technique. I have also inserted gamma waves at 40 Hz for maximum absorption for the background sound. The P.U.R.E. technique. The first thing I want you to do is define a reality you would like to experience. Find out something you want to be, do, or have in your mind, and which you feel is accessible to you and you would be willing to live up to. If you don't know what you want, define something you don't want and take the opposite of that as what you do want. The desire may be vague or specific, it's up to you. The second step is relax into 0 point, which is basically being silent. Relax yourself. Because before receiving a new somethingness, we return to nothingness. Call a timeout or sit or lie down, close your eyes, and become very silent and relaxed. So do that now. I want you to call a timeout, sit or lie down, close your eyes, and become very silent and relaxed. Retrieve attention from any issues and problems of the outside world, for now. Retrieve attention from any so-called factual evidence of things that you don't want. Gently and gradually allow any wants, needs, have-tos, shoulds, coulds, woulds to fade away and breathe gently. Gradually allow any judgments, labels, expectations, concepts, knowledge, opinions, definitions, and reactions about anything and everything to release from you right now. They may still be there, but they are no longer relevant to the silence you are experiencing. Now, I need you to understand that you don't need to do anything. You stop doing anything except observing and noticing. But observing and noticing is not even something you have to do, keep, or hold, because the observer is always present anyway. Behind the clouds of the mind lie a clear sky of awareness, ever present, ever silent. So while things may come up in the mind, they are noticed with the same neutral ease you would observe clouds in the sky. This does not have to be created or made. It happens naturally when you rest into silence and allow yourself to become open, unhurried, and receptive. I want you to just take a few seconds and feel relaxed, like nothingness. I want you to create no resistance. Just be here and now, and do that for a few seconds. Just simply enjoy the moment. Okay, 0 point means that you are in neutral observer mode, neither desiring nor resisting. Nothing is being created, nothing is being decreated. Thoughts come and go, but they are irrelevant to this practice. You are not identified with anything in particular. Do not advance in the 2-step before you feel completely at ease. Well-being is not the goal of this practice, but it's a prerequisite. Now we're going to get into step 3. Allow yourself to look at the new version of yourself. Allow yourself to look at the new version of yourself, the new conception, the new identity. Look at it. Look at yourself. Once silent, allow an image to appear that represents the version of yourself who is already experiencing the desired reality. Look into the future and make it now in the first person. Allow an image to appear that represents the version of yourself who is already experiencing the desired reality that you want. This is similar to visualization, but without concentration or effort. It is more a relaxed receiving of something already available or nearby. No willpower is used, so just relax into this state. Do not force it. Do not push it. Just be relaxed. Receive it. It is nearby and it is available to you now. You are not only imagining something or opening to possibility, but perceiving a version of yourself that already and really exists in a parallel reality already. You are becoming aware of someone who is already there. Look at that version of yourself for who the desired reality is already real. The version of yourself that you want, the identity that you want, already exists in a parallel universe. Now, connect with it and you will transfer there to here. Number 4, 4th step, enter the new viewpoint. Enter the new viewpoint. Rather than continuing to look at that version of yourself as an observer who is separate, as someone desiring it, enter the viewpoint or energy field of this person who is already experiencing complete fulfillment of that reality. And look as the person. Look as the person in the first person, not at a distance, but look as the person. As that person, immerse yourself into that reality. Enjoy it with natural ease, gratitude, and happiness. Experience the image not only as a mental event, but along with a complete body sense of touch, tactile sense, and emotion. Do not do this in order to experience the reality later, or in order to experience the reality in the outside world for real, but in order to experience the joy of it right here and now. This is very important. Do not do this in order to experience the reality later, or do not do this in order to experience the reality in the outside world for real later, but in order to experience the joy of it right now in your visualization, in your effortless visualization. You may feel a smile come to your face. Rest in it for a few minutes before releasing it and ending the closed eyes part of the process. Now I'm going to allow you just for a few seconds just to visualize and feel that new version of yourself. And see it and feel it and enjoy it. Feel the joy of being the new version of yourself that's really already existing. It's just in a parallel universe and you're connecting to it now. So I'm going to give you a moment of silence to visualize and just feel the joy of the new version. Now, I'm going to get into the fifth part of this process. You're going to rest in fulfillment of the new version of yourself. In the hours, days, and weeks after, simply rest in this new viewpoint. Rest in the fulfilled reality. Rest in it. Sleep in it. Go into the state akin to sleep in it. This means that you don't try to make it happen because you have already accepted it as real in your heart. So don't try to make it happen. You have already accepted it and it is real in your heart. You don't affirm, visualize, repeat, or wait for it. You do not affirm anything, nor visualize, or repeat, or wait for it. Do not wait for it. You don't hope for it to come in some future because you have claimed it as already real. You don't even think about it much either. You don't ask when, how, where it will show up. Instead, you simply do what offers itself to you throughout the day. And this will involve commonplace activities. Daily life continues in a natural manner without neediness or lack. Once in a while, you may want to re-feel the body sense of the chosen reality and enjoy what you have accepted as true. But often, not even that is necessary. Furthermore, you needn't be acting as if. Do not be acting as if the desired reality is manifest, for that still implies separation. Do not feel separate from what you have felt in your heart. Simply cease to behave in a way that assumes that it is not already so. Stop behaving in a way that is relevant to that not being already done or so, like it's not already happened. Do not behave in that way. You may refuse to ascribe relevance or importance to any events that seem to contradict your newly chosen reality. So refuse. You may refuse to ascribe relevance or importance to any events that seem to contradict your newly chosen reality. From the new viewpoint, such as events may still exist and come up, but they are no longer relevant enough to be reacted to and interacted with. They may be the way things are at the moment, but they are no longer the way you are. The corresponding physical manifestation will appear when you stop needing it, when you stop chasing after it or looking for it, but are instead willingly and lovingly identified with it. The corresponding physical manifestation will appear when you stop needing it, chasing after it, looking for it, but are instead willingly and lovingly identified with it. Not for the sake of making it manifest, but for the sake of experiencing its joy in the here, now, and today. Right here, right now, right here. Okay, so now that everyone has felt the new version of themselves and connected to their higher self, to the version of themselves in the parallel universe and connected to it. Now you're being taken to that universe, the universe that contains the version of yourself that you've connected with. You know it in your heart. Just allow your universe to connect with that universe, with the new version of yourself. And I'm going to give you some more details on the P.U.R.E technique and the procedure. The first step was to be still. Just be still, the first step. The second step was receive and identify with the desired reality. Receive an identity with the desired reality. Number 3 was rest in the fulfillment and let go. Some more background on the P.U.R.E technique is, in some shamanic cultures, this technique is called shape-shifting. Shape-shifting involves giving up your armor and resistance towards something and merging or melting with it so that you totally become it. Melt with it and totally become it. Not only on a mental level, but on a whole body and cellular level. The secret to this lies not in becoming something, but realizing that you are already everything and merely have to be one aspect of that. The secret lies in not becoming something, but realizing that you are already everything and merely having to be one aspect of that. Some shamans were known to practice shapeshifting to an extent that they physically became trees or animals. They were willing to give up their armored self and fully unite with something. This also involves giving up the concept of it's only imagination, a concept that actually separates you from the effectiveness of the technique. While the already given information will suffice to put the technique into practice, it can also be elaborated on and looked at in more detail. The mind loves detailed study, and what follows provides food for thought to solidify the mind's belief in the applicability of the technique. We will start by breaking down the second step, receive and identify with the desired reality, into the 3 further steps. The 3 elements of step 2 are see, feel, and be. We're going to start with see. This element could also be called decide or choose, because you are choosing one image from the trillions of options you have. This image is not so much visualized with effort, but rather received in silence. Yes, in a sense, it is also a visualization, but it is much more than that. Visualizations implies a purely mental event, while we are not only going for a 2-dimensional mental image, but for a complete body sense, a virtual reality experience, so to speak. Since the average human's attention jumps about randomly like a rubber ball, it is necessary to make a decision on what you really, really want. Otherwise, there will be nothing that you can focus on, because you won't know what to focus on. The decision is usually made before you begin the P.U.R.E process, before you go into silence, but it can also change during silence. What comes up in silence may even surprise you. But in general, you will have had an intention with which you go into the process. And this intention will affect what images come up in your mind, even if they are surprising. In other words, know what you are beginning the P.U.R.E. process for, but then leave the rest up to receptivity rather than effort. Leave the rest up to receptivity, receiving rather than using effort. See means that you are looking at something which represents the desire. You are not yet looking as it, but at it. You're not looking as it, but at it. Okay, so you are not yet looking as it, but at it. You are using imagination to see your desire just as three-dimensional and vivid as you would see your current surroundings if your eyes were open. So you want your visualization to be three-dimensional and vivid as you would see your current surroundings if your eyes were open. The main problem has been that we as a society have been conditioned to be better observers of what is that, dreamers of what could be. We observe our surroundings and take them to be indicators or evidence of what our life situation is all about. We were conditioned to constantly stare at what has been created and categorize it as good or bad, rather than looking at it what could be created. This places an emphasis on outside creations rather than new creations made by your inner authority. If your current surroundings and everyday realities seem more real, significant, and meaningful than your inner vision, this is the precise reason you are not experiencing anything new. Pay attention to what you give your eyes to see, your outer and inner eyes, because what you flow the most attention to becomes bigger. By seeing it, you make a selection and give your desire a form. You give it space and time. Relax and give your vision some time to unfold. You are a visionary being, so see it in all its richness, detail, color, and situation. If you want something to be real, you have to view it as real by saying, well, this is only imagination. You are invalidating something that you claim to want or like. So when you say, well, this is only imagination, you are invalidating something that you claim to want or like. Consciousness does not differentiate between real and imagined. But if you separate by naming something less solid and significant, consciousness will bow to it. This is a very, 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 very important but often overlooked part of the reality creation process. Now we're going to get into feel. We went into see, now we're going to get into feel, and I'm just going to break this down to help you give your mind some food for thought. This element of feel could also be placed as the third element of be, because identifying with something is accompanied by the body's sense of it. But here we discern it from be to point out how a feeling magnetizes a thought. Without the feeling or energy, a thought remains unmanifest. That's where the law of attraction and law of assumption differ. Without the feeling or energy, a thought remains nothing, unmanifest. Another word to describe this step is might be trust. When you feel something in your body, you mostly have no problem trusting in the validity of it. Emotion activates a thought. Emotion creates vibration, which interacts with reality. Feel what you would feel like if you were already in that reality. This would probably include feelings such as gratitude, happiness, excitement, love, peace, of simply ease. But feel does not only refer to emotions, but also to your tactile or body sense. Touch the objects and people in your vision, even smell or taste them. See identifies you with something a bit. Feel deepens the identification. Of course, these are not feelings you have to create or produce by effort, but again, emotions you let in, you allow to come up. This ability is completely native and natural to you. Do not view pictures that are emptied of emotion. If you are viewing something that is of substance and importance to you, you would feel something while you experience it. Wouldn't you? In order to experience something out there, you first have to experience it in here, not for the sake of getting it someday out there, but for the sake of enjoying it right now. That's so important. I'm going to read that again. In order to experience something out there, you must first experience it in here, not for the sake of getting it someday out there, but for the sake of enjoying it right now. The secret of feeling and thinking from the end. Enjoying it right now. It's effortless. Now we're going to cover B. See, feel, and now be. This is a step where you no longer look at it, but as it. You are as it. Your viewpoint shifts from the observer of the reality to observing from the reality. Your viewpoint shifts from the observer of the reality to observing from the reality. From thinking about it to thinking from it. And act out what you would act out in that reality in your imagination. See the things you are doing as this person. Observe the image from within the image. Observe the image from within the image. The image is no longer in front of you. You are it. The image is no longer in front of you. You are in it. Feel what it feels like to already be the person, the identity, the version. In the beginning stages of your P.U.R.E technique, try to really notice the shift and difference between the viewpoints of looking at and looking as. You might still be seeing the same things, but there is a discernible difference in feeling to the two viewpoints. Now I want to talk a little bit about, does be imply taking action? When you're being something, does that imply taking action? Most people will view action as cause of reality, but it is not. It is only the belief in action that makes action effective. But disbelieve a reality and it will not manifest. If you disbelieve a reality, it will not manifest, no matter how much effort you invest. Actually, physical action is not a required step of the P.U.R.E technique. Physical action is not a required step for this technique and only becomes necessary when people cannot release their conviction that action is cause of reality. Because some people give action and work such a high level of authority, the P.U.R.E technique will not only totally dismiss action, but if you do take action, then do it from an aligned point of view. You can do whatever you want as long as you understand that action itself is the effect of your vibratory being, not its cause. Action is what midwives the casual energy into physical form. But this is not something you need to worry about, because what exactly to act upon will present itself in an obvious manner. If, for example, you have aligned with the new reality of having a lot of new clients, and suddenly a lot of new prospective clients contact you by email, the obvious action would be to write back. If you have aligned with the new reality of ideal body weight, and a few days later you feel the sudden urge to drink a lot of water, the obvious action would be to follow that lead. Because action is not cause, you needn't worry about taking right or wrong actions too much. In general, after applying the P.U.R.E technique, you simply do what offers itself, meaning the regular daily activities such as washing the dishes or going to work. As long as you are emotionally aligned, it doesn't matter what you do unless you do something that is in complete contradiction or misalignment with your new self. For example, ignoring those emails for weeks or going jogging in order to lose weight, although you really dislike jogging. If you do like it, it is an aligned action, of course. Because of your new inner position, other things will start occurring which you may act upon, but you will know to act when they occur. If you do choose to act consciously, which is not a must, then act from the idea that your desire is on its way or already fulfilled. If, for example, you have entered the reality of, I have many new clients, you would probably not go take up a credit because you are worried about not getting any clients. That would run somewhat counter to your intention. But you might go purchase a new painting or live-in up your office. After all, you have all these clients visiting. So in RC, if you even act at all, then your actions tend to be more being than acting. Your actions tend to be more being than action when you're living in the wish fulfilled, rather than acting in order to be. In order your physical actions, you can come as close to the reality as possible, so that it only needs to fall in your lap when it actually manifests. If manifestation is too far from your regular activities, it will be experienced as kind of a shock when it does manifest. So if you do act, you may act in a manner that invites more of what you are manifesting. Your acting becomes more joyful, more that of a stage actor or movie actor who is emulating that a certain reality is already true, rather than struggling to achieve some reality that is not yet true. Rather than allowing physical reality to be a limitation, you may use it to your joyful benefit. This would include going to the places you would be going if that specific reality were already true, or purchasing, handling, renting, or borrowing the objects you would be handling if your reality were already true. This type of reality representative action is by far the most aligned. It represents what I call physiological magic. Getting used to a certain vibration frequency by copying behavior, placing, visiting, and object handling of the person who is already living in a certain reality. If, for example, you want to be the boss of your company rather than an employee, you would complement your new vibratory habit by sitting in a boss's chair, looking at the skyline from those bosses' office, spending time near bosses. In short, learning what that reality feels like There is no higher form of magic than learning what a reality feels like. Once you know what something feels like, once you catch its mood, it is yours. After identifying with a reality, meaning you go into silence, receive the image, see it, feel it, become it, rest in it, and let it go, your inner receiver is firmly set on the channel you want to receive. After that, do not resist the changes that come up. It all belongs. It's all part of the unfolding of your newly claimed reality, no matter what it looks like. The stronger your resistance towards the changes that do come up, the longer it takes to take form in the physical world. Why this seeming time buffer, you might ask? So that not every single moment or thought or notion you have manifests immediately, plunging your life into a kind of chaos. So there's a reason, there's a rationale behind this interval of time. I hope you all enjoyed this reading in this chapter from The Parallel Universes of Self by Frederick Dodson. I'm going to revisit the points for you real quick before I end this video. This is the P.U.R.E technique. The P.U.R.E technique stands for Parallel Universe Reality Emulation. The first step is define a reality you would like to experience. The second step is relax into 0 point. Be silent, in other words. The third step, allow yourself to look at the new version of yourself. Look at your new version. The fourth step, enter the new viewpoint, thinking from it, not of it. The fifth step, rest in fulfillment. Rest in fulfillment. Be still, receive, and identify with the desired reality. Rest in the fulfillment and let go. Hope you've enjoyed this reading. I love you guys very much, and I will see you guys tomorrow.